Daled on the left side, because I don't really understand what he's doing over here, so I'll try to figure it out. So he says this is in regard to the Indian Hamshachos on the Asas, the Shlosha Bechinas Malchus B'Meha Sefira. Now, I didn't know there was such a thing as 3 Bechinas of Malchus. I'm not sure what he means. So let's read what he says and maybe figure it out. He said, "Beseder Kavana Shel Sefira Mitzino Shena'asas Shlosha Hamshachos Mochin the Malchus." There's 3 different streams of mochin into malchus. The first one is B'kol Yom Mamshichin Mochin the Sheva Bechinas Chabad Chagdam Dezah. So the first place we see this is we're using the coordinates of Chagad Chagdam, Malchus, the Chagad Tamtam, because the Malchus. So over there, when we're talking about Chagad Malchus, Chagdam, Chabad Chagdam, then we're talking about that there's going to be a Malchus there. I guess that's what he means. He says, La'achar Hamshachas and Mochin the Zer Anpin. So now the Mochin are coming into Zer Anpin. Mamshichan and Malchios v'chademos. So I think it's demos. A mispar Shemos on v'hanefasho. So he brings what? He says, again, these are all Lashonos of Malchus. V'hanefashos the Nook, then it goes to the Nook. Shehi Bechinas Malchus, which is also Malchus. So that after the Hamshacha, the Zer Anpin, there's also going to be a Hamshacha of the same, of the Mochin that go to the Nook. B'Shvua Shvi, then you come to the third time. Mamshichin Mochin, the Sefirat at Sefirat of Malchus, the Zer Anpin. So you bring the last week. Then you're dealing with bringing it into the Sefirat of Malchus of Zer Anpin. But Tzarek Lahavi, Mi Hemach HaShlosha Bechinas of Malchus Muros, so you have to know what these aspects of Malchus, which is the Malchus into Zer Anpin, and then the Malchus into the Nukva, and then the weeks, the final week. B'yesh b'secha v'brichut b'lefarsha b'secha v'rabinichtov kam as ha'mahalach ha'pashut b'inyan zeh. So let me just say what the simplest way is to explain these 3. He's going to explain them. So he says, Hamshachos harishonos, and his keres he, the Malchus the Ovi. So the first thing we're talking about, of course, is the Malchus the Ovi. V'hapartzufim chochba bina kolden the Zer Anpin, and those. So he says that we're talking about what the Chabad Chagdam are. Let me see, the Ovi, of the Partzufim, these particular ones of Chachma Bina. So in Chachma Bina is what we're dealing with here, the Zer Anpin. She'alechon nimshachim kol laila hamochin la'achim esfiros Chabad Chagdam the Orech, so that we have now the coordinates between the Chagdam of the length, up and down of Orech versus that which is in Ovi. Shalav v'shahared b'kol laila nimshachim mochin la'achim esfiros Chabad Chagdam the Orech. So using every night switches in terms of what's going to be in the Orech, as we see on the drawing on the previous pages. The call Echem Parzufi Chabad Chagtam the Ovi, so it goes into each one of them. When the Chochma goes up, it goes up into the Chochma aspect of each of the Chabad Chagtam of Ovi. Then the next one says Hamshacha Hashniya Shalom Malchus V'Chademos, etc. So he uses all of these different words, and I haven't seen a place where they really explain why we need all of these words. I've been looking for them, but at any rate, so he said Malchios, he did V'Chademos, and etc. The Malchus HaKlalis, the Tzilus. There, when we're talking about that, when we use those words, we're talking about the general or the big category of Malchus, which is Rachel, Nok the Zer Anpin, and Nikragan Yaakov Rachel HaGadolim. So this is also, this Malchus is called the Yaakov Rachel HaGadolim. Before he says that, let me see, who the Malchus HaKlalis, which is called the Yaakov Rachel HaGadolim. I previously said Yaakov Rachel. I didn't know there was a comment. There was a smaller one, a Gedolim. I thought that was with Zun. Anyway, Shalechon Nimshachan Amochin Tekef Achon Nimshachan Nizah. So immediately after going into Zeir Anpin, that's where they go over here. Now, in the next one, it says in the Sifra, Spheres of Malchus, Shalechon Nimshachan Amochin B'Shvua Shvi. So the aspect of Malchus, about Malchus, the Malchus that comes at the end of every week. Biachad im Spheres of Tiferes, but it doesn't come by itself, it comes with Tiferes as well, Tiferes and Malchus. And that's because there's 7 Mochim, or 7 Chasadim, I guess we're talking about here, or the Gevuros, 7 Chasadim, he HaMalchus the Orech, so we're talking, this is the Malchus of Orech, the called parts of Chabad Chagtam the Ovi, so it's the final part of we're dealing with the Malchus and the Malchus of the coordinates. Well, we might as well look at it just for a second on page 259, and you could see that if you go down the line, you go down, say the Chabad Chagtam on the Orech, that you'll see if you get down to the bottom of that you're going to see that there's a Malchus in all of the Chabad Chagtam of Ovi. So that's that, and let's look at it one more time and let's finish it out. He says, Hi HaMalchus the Orech the Kol Partzufi Chabad Chagtam the Ovi Domir the Hamshachos the Tiferes. It's similar to the Hamshachah that goes with Tiferes and the Asis Gam Hi B'Shvua, which also takes place at the same time. So he says, Gam Hu B'Shvua Shvi Shuhu Tiferes the Orech, which is the Tiferes of Orech, also gets filled in over there too. But Malchus the Orech, he bechinas Malchus apratis the Zeir Anpin. So this Malchus of Orech is the specific Malchus of Zeir Anpin. Hanikra Ataras Yesod, it's called the Ataras Yesod. V'nikras Gam Yaakov Rachel Hakatanim. So I thought that now that we got to here, that's really the end of this little Mabo. I didn't really go further over here and look into the beginning of the Kabbalas. This is the next page goes into the Siddur of Rashash, and this is Kabbalas of Sefira. L'Harav Makubal Aloki Sar Shalom Sharabe Zitsuko. Okay, so I was looking at this on page Reish Samachay, where we're at right now. So if you go down a little bit, and you'll see that there's a word call. Let's see how this reads. I haven't looked at it lately. So he says, call echad ve'echad ma partzufim chatzilus and niskarim. Every one of the partzufim, we talked about the partzufim b'tzilus. He says, kolo avku b'chamesha partzufi kol of them. It also has 5 partzufim ve'hem kasechach v'bina chagat v'nai. So again, this is a little information on him. He says every partzuf has 5 partzufim in them. And the last 2 are called, instead of, I guess it's Chagat V'nai. He calls Chagat and Nai Partzufim. V'l'kol echad mechem yesh es ha'oros, that is the mochin and nimshachim alav. L'kesed nimshach or ha'yechida, l'chochma or ha'chaya, the bina in the mshachim mochin the bina l'zah haruach mochin the chagat v'ledok anefesh mochin the nai. Okay, that was it. Okay, that's the shear for today, and figure out how to turn this thing off.